The grand chamber of the Galactic Council stretched wider than 3 football fields. 600 different alien species had seats here. Some looked almost human. Others were so strange that human minds could barely understand what they were seeing. Floating gas clouds with sparkling lights inside them drifted next to giant insect-like creatures. Small, furry beings with 8 eyes sat beside tall reptilians with scales that changed color with their moods. In the center of it all stood Adam Carter. He was the only human in the room. His plain black suit looked boring next to the colorful robes and natural body coverings of the aliens around him. Adam had been Earth's ambassador to the Galactic Council for 7 years. Everyone expected another routine speech from him today. Adam stepped up to the speaking platform. The universal translators hummed to life. Whatever he said would be instantly changed into hundreds of languages and communication methods. Some aliens would hear words. Others would receive scent signals or color patterns or even mild electric shocks that formed words in their minds. Representatives of the Galactic Council, Adam began. His voice was calm and steady. I stand before you today with an important message from Earth. The council chamber quieted. Most diplomatic announcements were boring, but something in Adam's voice made everyone pay attention. As of 800 Earth Standard Time today, humanity formally withdraws from all diplomatic relations with the Galactic Council and its member species. For 3 seconds there was complete silence. Then chaos erupted. This is unacceptable, shouted Graktul, the Vrexian ambassador. His 4 ears flattened against his furry head in anger. The Dralai representatives rose up, stretching to their full 15-foot height. Their eye stalks waved wildly above the crowd. Ambassador Carter, explain yourself, demanded the Zalaxian high speaker. Light flashed across its crystal body in patterns that showed extreme alarm. Adam held up a hand. There is nothing to explain. Earth has made its decision. We are leaving the council, effective immediately. He stepped down from the platform. Susan Miller, his human advisor, hurried to his side. Sir, we can't just leave like this, she whispered urgently. We need to follow proper exit procedures. The council requires a 6-month notice period and— Not anymore, Adam cut her off. Those rules no longer apply to us. He walked straight toward the exit. Alien diplomats rushed to block his path. Some begged, some threatened, but Adam pushed through them all. Outside the council chamber, Adam's security team waited. They were 6 humans in plain clothes, but each was armed with weapons hidden under their jackets. Move out, Adam ordered. Back to the ship. As they walked through the massive halls of the council building, aliens of all kinds stared at them. News traveled fast. Already everyone knew that Earth had done something shocking. Sir, Susan tried again. The economic consequences alone will be devastating. We depend on council trade routes for— We depended on them, Adam corrected her. Past tense. Earth has been preparing for this day for years. They reached the docking bay where the Earth ship waited. The sleek vessel looked small and primitive compared to the alien ships around it, but appearances were deceiving. Adam boarded first, followed by his team. As the doors closed behind them, he finally allowed himself a small smile. Take us home, he told the pilot. The ship lifted off smoothly. Through the viewports, Adam watched the council planet grow smaller. The massive city covered the entire world. Trillions of beings lived there, the heart of galactic politics for 10,000 years. And humanity had just told them all to go to hell. As the ship prepared to jump to faster than light speed, the communication system lit up. Incoming messages flooded in from every major species in the galaxy. Adam ignored them all. Sir, the communications officer said, the Galactic High Council itself is demanding to speak with you. Inform them that I'll be happy to talk when I'm back on Earth. If they want to know why we're leaving, they can watch the president's address like everyone else. The ship jumped, and the stars stretched into lines around them. Back on Earth, President Laura Green stood before a global audience. Every screen on the planet showed her face. Billions of humans watched from Earth, Mars, Europa, and the distant colonies around other stars. Fellow citizens of Earth and human colonies, she began. Today marks a turning point in human history. As of this morning, I have ordered our diplomatic corps to withdraw from the Galactic Council. Gasps and murmurs spread through the crowd in front of her. For 70 years, humanity has tried to be a good member of the galactic community. We have shared our culture, traded fairly, and fought in wars that were not our own. And how have we been repaid? With disrespect, with barriers to our growth, with subtle sabotage of our advancement. President Green's voice grew stronger. No, more. We have discovered that the Council has deliberately held back key technologies from us. They have interfered with our scientific progress. They have treated us as children when we are a species capable of greatness. She paused to let her words sink in. Some will say this move is dangerous. They will say we need the Council's protection. But I say humanity protects itself. And starting today, we will chart our own path among the stars. On Colony Station Alpha, orbiting Jupiter, crowds gathered in the main plaza to watch the speech. Some cheered. Others looked worried. "This is crazy," said a dock worker to his friend. "We can't survive without council trade." "Maybe we can," his friend replied. "My cousin works in the new factories on Mars. He says we've been building our own versions of alien tech for years, in secret." Similar conversations happened across human territory. Fear mixed with excitement and pride. On the moon, in a hidden laboratory deep beneath the surface, Dr. Alice Johnson watched the president's speech with her team of scientists and engineers. "Well," she said when it was over, "now the real work begins." She turned to the massive device that filled the center of the lab. It looked like a ring of shining metal, 30 feet across. Strange energies flickered around it. "Project Prometheus is no longer secret," Alice told her team. "Let's make sure it works perfectly when the Council comes calling." No one outside this room knew it yet, but humanity wasn't just making a political statement. They were about to reveal technology that would change the balance of power across the entire galaxy, and the Galactic Council had no idea what was coming. 3 weeks passed since Earth broke ties with the Galactic Council. The effects spread through the galaxy like ripples in a pond. On the Council's central planet, the Trade Commission held an emergency meeting. The room was filled with the most powerful economic minds from 100 worlds. "The numbers are worse than we feared," said Zextrel, the head of the commission. The tall, blue-skinned alien pointed to the holographic charts floating above the table. "Human-made quantum processors are no longer being delivered to our markets. Prices have tripled. Production of advanced ships has slowed." Another alien, this one shaped like a giant slug with metal implants, spoke up. "The humans were making 80% of our gravitational stabilizers. Without them, space stations across 5 sectors are reporting problems." In a different part of the galaxy, a small fleet of warships surrounded the planet Lyceria. The ships belonged to the Klaxon, raiders, pirates who preyed on weaker worlds. Before Earth's withdrawal, this planet had been protected by human patrol ships. Now it was defenseless. "They have 6 hours to surrender," growled the Klaxon commander, his razor teeth gleaming in the light of his ship's bridge. What the Klaxon didn't know was that 5 human stealth ships watched from nearby. They weren't supposed to be there. Earth had officially pulled all its forces back to human space. But Captain Joe Baker had received secret orders. "Record everything," he told his crew. "But we don't intervene unless they start killing civilians." His second-in-command looked shocked. "Sir, we can't just watch them attack." "Those are our orders," Joe said grimly. "Earth needs to show the galaxy what happens when we're not around." On Centaurus Prime, a major trading hub, Ambassador Kevin Wright packed his office. Earth was closing all its embassies across the galaxy. Kevin had served here for 12 years and made many alien friends. His communication system chimed. It was the 10th call in an hour. This time the caller was Glix, an insect-like alien who represented the banking guild. "Please, Ambassador Wright." Glix's mandibles clicked anxiously as he spoke. "You must tell your government to reconsider. The economic damage is spreading. Smaller worlds that depend on trade with Earth are facing collapse." "I've passed all concerns to my government," Kevin replied flatly. Their response remains the same. Earth is pursuing its own path now. After ending the call, Kevin stared out the window at the alien city. He knew what was coming next, though he couldn't tell anyone. Earth wasn't just leaving the galactic community. It was about to change it forever. On Earth's moon, deep in the secret lab, Dr. Alice Johnson worked without rest. Project Prometheus was almost ready. The giant ring now glowed with strange energies. A team of 50 scientists monitored countless instruments. "Power levels are stable," reported one scientist. "Quantum field is holding at 98%. Alice nodded. "Begin final sequence." The ring's glow intensified. In the center, space itself seemed to twist and bend. Then, with a flash that temporarily blinded everyone in the room, a hole opened in the center of the ring. Through it, they could see another place, a lab on Mars, 300 million miles away. "Wormhole established," someone shouted. Alice allowed herself a small smile. "Send the test probe through." A small robot rolled forward and entered the wormhole. On the screens, they watched it emerge in the Mars lab, where another team of scientists cheered. "We did it," Alice said quietly. "A stable wormhole without using Quantium-40. This was what the Council feared most. For thousands of years they had controlled interstellar travel because only they had access to Quantium-40, an element needed to create wormholes. Every faster-than-light ship needed it. Every planet that wanted to trade needed it. And the Council controlled the price. But now, humans had found another way. Alice's assistant approached her with a secure communication device. "It's the President." Alice took the call. "Madam President, Project Prometheus is successful. We can create stable wormholes without their precious element." "Excellent work, Doctor." President Green's voice came through clearly. "How soon can we implement the network?" "The first 5 points can be operational within 2 weeks. Full network of 50 points within 6 months. Make it happen. The Council just sent their biggest diplomatic ship to Earth. The Grand Arbiter himself is coming to negotiate our return." Alice smiled. "They're in for a surprise." In space near Earth, a massive alien vessel approached. It was the diplomatic envoy, personal ship of Grand Arbiter Zix Talon, one of the most powerful beings in the galaxy. The ship was the size of a small city, decorated with the symbols of 100 worlds. On the bridge, Zix Talon, a tall humanoid with silver skin and eyes that glowed like stars, watched Earth grow larger on the view screen. "They cannot truly mean to isolate themselves," he said to his advisors. "They must see reason. No species can survive alone in this galaxy." His chief advisor nodded. "Our economic reports show they should already be facing severe shortages of critical materials. Their colonies will pressure the government to restore ties." "And if they refuse?" asked another advisor. The Grand Arbiter's eyes flashed. "Then we have other methods of persuasion." As the diplomatic envoy reached Earth orbit, they received a transmission. It was Admiral George Simpson of Earth's Defense Forces. "Welcome to Earth Space, Grand Arbiter," the human said. "I regret to inform you that you do not have permission to approach any closer or to land. Earth is not accepting diplomatic missions at this time." Zix Talon was shocked. "This is the Grand Arbiter of the Galactic Council. You cannot deny me landing rights." "I'm afraid we can, and we are," Admiral Simpson replied calmly. "You are welcome to send any message you wish via normal channels, but your ship must remain at its current position or withdraw." To emphasize the point, 20 Earth defense platforms activated around the alien ship. They were small and didn't look impressive, but the Grand Arbiter's sensors detected power readings far higher than should be possible. "This is outrageous," Zix Talon raged. "Do you know what you're doing?" "Perfectly," the Admiral replied. "Safe journey home, Grand Arbiter." The transmission ended. For the first time in his 300-year life, Zix Talon was speechless with anger. Meanwhile, on Mars colony, General Frank Peters reviewed the latest defense preparations. Maps showed the position of every human military vessel and installation across their territory. "All ships are in defensive positions," reported his aide. "The automated drones are active and broadcasting false signatures. Anyone scanning our systems will think our fleet is still deployed normally." Frank nodded. "And the shield network?" "Final installations complete on all major colonies. We can activate the entire network on your command. Frank looked at the galaxy map showing the Council's military forces. Several large fleets had begun moving toward human space. They'll try to threaten us first, he said. When that fails, they'll try to find out what we're planning. In the deepest levels of the Council's Intelligence Headquarters, Tavaro of the Mindweb Collective finished his analysis. The telepathic alien had spent days gathering all available information on human activities. The humans aren't preparing for war, he told the emergency committee. They're preparing for independence, complete independence. They've been secretly developing technologies we thought were impossible. The committee members shifted uncomfortably. What kind of technologies? Asked one. Tavaro's multiple eyes blinked in sequence. That is what we must discover, and quickly before they change. Everything. 2 months after Earth's dramatic exit from the Galactic Council, Linda Rivera stood on a stage in the Great Hall of Omega Station. The trading hub was neutral territory, not controlled by the Council. Around her gathered representatives from 30 smaller alien species. None of them were powerful enough to have much influence in the Council. Linda was Earth's newly appointed independent ambassador. Her job was to build new relationships outside the Council framework. She wore a simple blue suit with Earth's new symbol, a stylized planet with wings, on her shoulder. Friends from across the stars, she began. Thank you for accepting our invitation today. The aliens watched her with different types of eyes, sensing organs and perception systems. Some looked hopeful, some looked nervous. For too long, the Galactic Council has controlled how we all travel between stars, Linda continued. They have maintained their power through their monopoly on Quantium-40, the element that makes wormhole travel possible. A murmur passed through the crowd. Everyone knew this was true, but few dared to say it openly. Today, humanity offers an alternative. Linda gestured to the large screen behind her. It showed a video of Dr. Alice Johnson's laboratory on the moon. The massive ring of Project Prometheus filled the screen. We have developed stable wormhole generators that can be manufactured without Quantium-40. The video showed the wormhole opening, the test probe going through, and then a human stepping through the portal to Mars. The aliens in the audience gasped, buzzed, flashed colors, or showed their shock in various ways typical to their species. This is impossible, shouted a delegate from the Tyrian Federation, a lizard-like being with frills that turned bright orange in excitement. The Council told us wormholes require Quantium-40. They said it was a law of physics, said another alien, this one floating in a tank of green liquid. Linda smiled. They lied. Or perhaps they simply never found another way. But humans have always been good at finding new paths when the old ones are blocked. The video continued, showing multiple wormholes operating at once, connecting different human colonies. The dated timestamp showed this wasn't a theoretical technology. It had been working for weeks. Humanity is prepared to share this technology with non-Council worlds, Linda said, in exchange for fair trade agreements and mutual defense pacts. The alien representatives erupted in excited conversation. If they didn't need Quantium-40, they wouldn't have to pay the Council's high prices. They could establish their own trade routes. They could escape the economic control the Council had maintained for centuries. Within hours, the news spread across the galaxy. Despite the Council's attempts to censor it, the video of human wormhole technology leaked onto every information network. On the stock exchanges of major worlds, the price of Quantium-40 crashed. The previously valuable resource lost 60% of its value in a single day. The economies of several powerful Council members, whose wealth came from controlling Quantium-40 mines, plunged into crisis. In the Council's emergency chamber, representatives shouted at each other. The humans must be stopped, yelled the delegate from the Draconian Empire, a heavily armored reptilian species known for their military might. They threaten the stability of the entire galaxy. With what? Evidence? Countered a more moderate voice. They have made no aggressive moves. Their technology is the aggression, the Draconian insisted. Emperor Krav has already ordered our fleet to move toward human space. We will bring them back into line or destroy them. The Draconian fleet was the largest military force in the galaxy. 2,000 warships, each carrying enough firepower to level a city, moved toward the solar system in a massive display of force. On Earth, military commanders watched the approaching fleet with concern but not panic. "They're trying to scare us," said General Frank Peters during the emergency meeting. "Classic intimidation tactic." President Green studied the holographic display showing the draconian ships. "Are our defenses ready?" "Yes, Madam President, but we should consider activating the Titan Shield network now." The President nodded. "Do it. And prepare the evidence package. It's time to show the galaxy the full truth." On Titan, the largest moon of Saturn, engineer Paul Wilson received the activation code. He stood in a control room built inside the moon's icy crust. Around him, other engineers monitored massive power systems. "Shield network activation commencing," Paul announced. "All stations report ready status." He pressed his palm against the activation plate. Deep beneath the surface of Titan, gigantic machines that had been disguised as mining equipment and atmospheric processors hummed to life. Energy surged through conduits that ran throughout the moon. Similar systems activated on Mars, Europa, and all major human colonies. Shield forming in 3, 2, 1. A shimmering dome of energy appeared above Titan. It wasn't just a normal energy shield like those used on ships. This was something new. Within seconds, the dome expanded to cover the entire moon. At the same time, identical shields appeared over every human world and station. The technology was decades beyond what the Council believed humans possessed. In the Council's Military Analysis Center, alarms blared as their sensors detected the shield activations. "How is this possible?" demanded Admiral Vrex of the Council. "Fleet. Their shield technology was primitive just months ago." His analyst, a multi-brained being floating in a special chamber, responded, "Evidence suggests they have been hiding their true technological level for years." The Draconian fleet continued toward Earth, but now their commanders looked at the sensor readings with growing concern. They had expected to face a minor power they could easily intimidate. Instead, they were approaching a civilization with technology that matched or exceeded their own. Meanwhile, on a secure channel that bypassed normal communication networks, Dr. Olivia Martinez prepared to broadcast from Earth's diplomatic history archive. She was a small, quiet woman who had spent 40 years collecting evidence. "Going live in 60 seconds, her assistant told her. Olivia nodded. The broadcast would reach every corner of the galaxy, using the new wormhole network to bypass Council sensors. "People of the galaxy," she began when the light turned green. "My name is Dr. Olivia Martinez of Earth. For 5 decades I have documented the Council's actions toward humanity and other developing species." She began presenting evidence. Records of Council agents sabotaging human research facilities, assassinating key human scientists, and manipulating trade agreements to keep Earth dependent on Council resources. "This is why Earth withdrew from the Council," she explained. "Not out of anger or isolation, but because we discovered the truth. The Council was never meant to unite the galaxy. It was designed to control it." Her broadcast reached the Draconian fleet. On the command ship, General Krav watched with growing dismay as Olivia revealed secret communications between the Draconian Empire and other Council powers, planning how to keep humans contained and controlled. "Should we continue advance, General?" asked his second-in-command. For the first time in the 1,000-year history of the Draconian fleet, an order was given that wasn't for attack or victory. "Hold position," General Krav said quietly. "And open a channel to Earth. I believe we need to talk." The humans had changed the game, not with weapons but with truth and technology, and the galaxy would never be the same. The Draconian fleet hung in space at the edge of the solar system. 2,000 warships stayed in perfect formation, neither advancing nor retreating. This alone was historic. For 1,000 years, the Draconians had never stopped an attack, once ordered by their emperor. On Earth, in the Presidential Command Center deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, military leaders watched the alien fleet with tense expressions. "They've been holding position for 6 hours," reported General Frank Peters. "All weapons are charged, but they haven't targeted our worlds." President Laura Green nodded. Open the channel they requested. A large screen lit up, showing General Krav of the Draconian fleet. He was 7 feet tall with dark green scales and yellow eyes with vertical pupils. His ceremonial armor bore the marks of 100 victories. President Green, he said, his voice deep and formal. The evidence presented by your Dr. Martinez is concerning. It's more than concerning, General, Laura replied calmly. It's proof that the Council has been systematically working against humanity's advancement while pretending to welcome us as equals. General Krav's scales shifted slightly, a sign of discomfort in his species. The Draconian Empire values honor in battle. We do not fear technological equals. But these methods, sabotage, assassination, economic manipulation, they are not the actions of honorable allies. No, they are not, Laura agreed, which is why Earth chose to leave the Council. We seek neither war nor dominance. We simply refuse to be controlled. The alien general was silent for a moment. Emperor Krav has authorized me to withdraw our fleet from human space on one condition. What condition? That your Dr. Martinez provides us with all evidence specifically relating to Council actions against the Draconian Empire. We suspect we may have been manipulated as well. President Green smiled slightly. That can be arranged. Safe journey, General. The screen went dark. In the room, several military advisors let out breaths they had been holding. Did we just avoid a war with the most powerful military force in the galaxy? Asked one. For now, Laura said. But this is just the beginning. Across the galaxy, the effects of Dr. Martinez's broadcast rippled outward. On 30 different worlds, populations took to the streets, demanding their governments investigate Council influence. The evidence she had presented wasn't just about Earth. It showed a pattern of control over many developing species. In the Council's Grand Chamber, emergency sessions descended into chaos. The 7 founding species that had always controlled the Council faced angry questions from the newer members. How long have you been manipulating wormhole technology? Demanded the representative from the Procyon Alliance. Our people have paid trillions in Quantium-40 taxes for centuries. The humans are lying, insisted High Counselor Zex of the Founders' Circle. Their technology is dangerous and untested. Then why did you try to suppress it? Asked another delegate. We have the records of your orders to destroy their research facilities. Outside the chamber, crowds gathered. For the first time in 10,000 years, there were protests on the Council's capital world. On Earth, a different kind of meeting took place. President Green welcomed representatives from 30 non-Council species who had approached Earth with alliance proposals after Linda Rivera's presentation. The meeting was held in the historic United Nations building in New York. Aliens of all shapes and sizes filled the renovated General Assembly Hall. Some needed special environments, water tanks, low-gravity supports, or atmospheric converters, but all had come with the same purpose. Welcome to Earth, President Green said. We are honored by your presence. A tall, willowy alien with pale blue skin and 4 arms stood to speak. She was Ambassador Lyra of the Tau Ceti Combine, a group of worlds that had always existed in the shadow of the Council. Humanity has done what none of us dared, she said, her voice musical. You have shown that the Council's power can be challenged. We wish to stand with you. One by one, other representatives spoke. They all had similar stories, of resource exploitation, of technological suppression, of being treated as second-class members of the galactic community. Linda Rivera, now serving as Earth's chief negotiator, outlined the terms of the proposed alliance. We offer fair trade, technological exchange, and mutual defense, she explained, but not under the hierarchical structure of the Council. All members of our alliance will have equal standing and voting rights, regardless of their technological development or military strength. The terms were simple but revolutionary in a galaxy where power had always determined status. Meanwhile, on the distant human colony of New Eden, 4 Council spy ships appeared without warning. They were stealth vessels, designed to bypass normal detection systems. Their mission was to gather intelligence on human wormhole technology and, if possible, sabotage it. What they didn't know was that humans had been expecting them. As the ships approached the colony's main research facility, they triggered hidden sensors. Captain Steve Rogers of the Colony Defense Force received the alert in his command center. 4 stealth signatures detected, sir. Council design. Steve nodded. Let them get close enough to see the facility, then activate the capture fields. The spy ships moved silently toward the research complex. Their sensors recorded everything: the layout of the buildings, the power signatures, the movement of personnel. They were so focused on gathering intelligence that they didn't notice the subtle energy pattern building around them. Now, Steve ordered. Invisible fields of energy snapped into place surrounding each spy ship. The vessel suddenly stopped, caught like insects in amber. Broadcast on all frequencies, Steve said. Attention Council vessels. You have entered human space without permission and have been detected. Your ships are now contained. Your crews will be treated according to interstellar law and returned to Council space unharmed. On the largest Council spy ship, Commander Trell of the Intelligence Directorate stared in disbelief at his instruments. How did they detect us? These stealth systems are the most advanced in the galaxy. His second-in-command had no answer. Like many in the Council hierarchy, they had underestimated humans once again. On Earth, President Green received news of the captured spy ships. They're getting desperate, she said to her advisors. The Council is fracturing, and they know it. Her Chief Intelligence Officer nodded. We've received reports that the Andromedan delegates have formally withdrawn from the Council. The Rigelian Compact and the Tau Ceti Combine are expected to follow within days. And the Draconians? Still neutral, but leaning our way. General Krav was apparently quite impressed with the evidence Dr. Martinez provided. Laura stood and walked to the window of her office. Outside, she could see the rebuilt skyline of Washington, D.C., with its mix of traditional buildings and advanced new structures. In the distance, a wormhole portal shimmered, the newest addition to the city, providing instant transport to the Moon, Mars, and beyond. We never wanted to destroy the Council, she said quietly. We just wanted to be treated as equals. Her intelligence chief nodded. Sometimes systems have to break before they can be rebuilt properly. Send a message to the Council founders, Laura decided. Tell them I'm willing to meet, not as supplicants asking to rejoin, but as equals discussing a new future. It's time to rebuild galactic society on a foundation of actual cooperation, not control. Across human space, citizens watched their news feeds with a mixture of pride and anxiety. They had challenged the most powerful organization in the galaxy and survived. But what came next would determine the future of not just humanity, but all species who dreamed of true freedom among the stars. 1 year had passed since Earth withdrew from the Galactic Council. The galaxy had changed in ways that would have seemed impossible before. The Grand Chamber of the Council still existed, but it was different now. The massive room that once held 600 species now hosted only 200. Many had left to join what was now called the Interstellar Cooperative. The Council itself had reformed. Gone was the Founders' Circle that had secretly controlled everything for 10,000 years. The 7 ancient species that started the Council had been forced to accept equal status with newer members. Some had refused and withdrawn entirely. The former Council capital world. John Murphy walked through the quieter halls. He was Earth's new ambassador, though not to the Council. He was here for a historic meeting. John entered a large meeting room. Inside waited representatives from species that had once been the most powerful in the galaxy. The Zalaxian High Speaker, the Vrexian Ambassador, and others who had looked down on humans as primitive newcomers now stood to greet him with careful respect. Ambassador Murphy, said the Zalaxian, light playing across its crystal body in patterns that indicated formal greeting. Thank you for agreeing to this meeting. The pleasure is mine, John replied with a slight bow. Earth welcomes dialogue with all species. The meeting room had been redesigned. Instead of the hierarchical arrangement of the old council with the powerful species elevated above others, the room now had a perfectly circular table with identical seats. The Vrexian ambassador spoke next, his 4 ears twitching nervously. We have reviewed the charter of your interstellar cooperative. Our governments are interested in the possibility of membership. John kept his face neutral, though inside he felt a surge of satisfaction. These were the same powers that had once mocked humans that had tried to keep Earth dependent and controlled. Now they were asking to join the new galactic order that humans had created. The cooperative welcomes all species who accept our founding principles, he said. Equal standing, technological sharing, and fair trade. Every member has one vote, regardless of their military might or economic power. Some of the aliens shifted uncomfortably. For millennia they had used their advantages to control others. The idea of true equality was still strange to them. These terms are unusual, said a tall reptilian being, a junior representative of the Draconian Empire. But Emperor Krav has authorized me to state that we find them acceptable. One by one, the former council powers indicated their willingness to accept the new reality, not out of generosity or a sudden belief in equality, but because they had no choice. The galaxy had moved on without them. As the meeting progressed, John connected via secure channel to a session of the Cooperative's assembly, taking place simultaneously in the new headquarters on Omega Station. There, Linda Rivera presided over representatives from 67 species, most of whom had never had real power in the old council. The vote is unanimous, Linda announced to the assembly. The cooperative officially recognizes the independence of the Lycerian cluster. The Lycerians, the small peaceful species that had nearly been conquered by the Klaxon raiders a year ago, now had their own self-defense fleet and trade agreements with a dozen worlds. Like many formerly powerless species, they had found their voice in the new galactic order. Back in the meeting room on the council world, John completed the formalities with the former council powers. Humanity never sought to replace one galactic power with another, he told them as they signed the preliminary agreements. We simply removed the barriers that prevented true cooperation. Your species are welcome to join us as equals. The former council members, once desperate to bring humans back under control, now found themselves grateful just to have a seat at the table. John knew they would take time to truly adapt to the new ways, but they had taken the first step. As the meeting ended, John walked back through the Grand Council chamber. It was being renovated. The intimidating high seats of the Founders' Circle were being removed. The room would become the Cooperative's second meeting hall, a place of equal voices rather than controlled power. On distant Earth, in her lab at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, Dr. Alice Johnson watched the proceedings via holographic transmission. Beside her stood her newest creation, an advanced version of the wormhole generator. This one was smaller, more efficient, and capable of reaching much greater distances. Is it ready? Asked her assistant. Looking at the device with awe, Alice nodded. The final tests were successful. This version can create stable wormholes between galaxies, not just within our own. The assistant's eyes widened. You mean we could travel to Andromeda? Or beyond? Eventually, yes. Alice smiled. But first we need to make sure our own house is in order. In the presidential office in Washington, D.C., Laura Green signed the last of the day's documents and looked out at the city. The wormhole portal that had been new a year ago was now just one of several, allowing instant travel across Earth and to the colonies. Citizens no longer thought twice about having breakfast on Earth, lunch on Mars, and dinner on Europa. Human worlds had never been more connected, more unified, or more prosperous. Her aide entered with a report. Madam President, the last of the Council sanctions against Earth have been officially lifted. All trade routes are now open. Laura nodded. And how are the former Council powers adjusting to the new cooperative framework? As well as can be expected, the aide replied. There have been some complaints about equal voting rights, but they're adapting. They don't have much choice since most of the galaxy has embraced the new system. Laura thought about how far they had come. A year ago, Earth had taken a tremendous risk by cutting ties with the Council. Many had feared isolation or even war. Instead, they had sparked a peaceful revolution that transformed galactic society. Has there been any word from the exploration team at the Galactic Rim? She asked. Yes, Madam President. Captain Rogers reports that they've established contact with 3 non-council species previously unknown to us. All 3 have expressed interest in joining the cooperative. The galaxy was opening up in ways no one had imagined. Species that had hidden from the Council's control were now emerging, bringing new ideas, new technologies, and new possibilities. On Omega Station, the neutral trading hub that now served as the headquarters of the Interstellar Cooperative, ambassadors from dozens of worlds mingled in the Grand Plaza. Humans worked alongside aliens of all kinds, planning trade routes, sharing technological innovations, and building a new future. The greatest shock to galactic civilization wasn't that humans had left the Council. It was that they had created something better to replace it. Not through conquest or domination, but by offering a genuine alternative based on equality and cooperation. And as humans looked to the stars beyond their galaxy, they carried with them the most important lesson. They had learned, true power comes not from control, but from connection.